Hello, and welcome to the Cancer Journey podcast. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sherry Ann.
So let's start with Pesh today. Sherry Ann, do you want to go first?
Oh, okay. Let me just check in here. So, physically, I am, like 9.7 came up. That's really weird. Okay. Emotionally, 8.7. Spirit, 9.3. Hope, wow, 9.9. I'm just letting it come. So, this is really fascinating me. And my word is joyful.
Oh.
Yeah. How about you?
For me, physically, I am an 8. Emotionally, I am an 8. Spiritually, an 8.5. Hope is an 8.5. Actually, we'll make that an 8.75. And my word is vision.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right, so let's dive in. So today, it's still the holiday season. We're still talking about the holidays, but specifically today, we want to talk more about presents.
Right. So presence, as in how we show up and who we are, versus presence as the gift that we're giving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such a juicy topic.
It's such a juicy topic. We think of during the holidays both of what are we going to give, who is on the list of things I have to give things to, and also like what am I going to get? Maybe that's also a younger perspective because as a kid it's all about what am I going to get as a present? What am I going to get? What am I going to get? What am I going to get? I do think at a certain point it kind of flips and it's all about what am I going to give? And we forget about what we get to receive, and then we forget to receive.
Right. And so it's really interesting that so as you say, what am I going to give and what am I going to get? It comes into mind immediately the thing, the form. It's
Yeah.
either a doing or like a physical thing, like, oh, what is Santa going to bring me? Or what do I want Santa to bring me? And it's so gimme is what comes up for me,
Mm-hmm.
where I realize that part of my joyful word is that yesterday, as uh, I was driving back from walking the dogs with your papa, we were going, wow, we feel really free, because what we would normally be doing is, where are we with our gift list? What do we have to get? Time is clicking. And it's that really stressful feeling. And since we made this proclamation that we weren't going to exchange gifts being physical things, we were like, wow, we feel so free and stressless. It was more of this, thank you. And so I think that's carried over to today, where it's like, I don't have that extra layer of responsibility or have to's or stress.
Yeah. Yeah. And just for context, we're going away for
Right.
for the holiday, and we had told, our family that we're not going to be here, and it's not for any lack of love. It's not because we're sick and tired of this. Christmas comes every single year. We have so many Christmases. Like, why not do something different? And in the spirit of where we've been and what we've been, preaching, we also are putting it into practice and doing the thing that we say. And this choice really aligned with what we want
Yes.
to do. And, typically, like as you're saying, this time of year, usually you guys are checking your list and looking at the budget for like how much we're going to spend on each person and how long that list is, and it's a whole formula that turns into we have a dining room table that's like filled, covered with gifts, and by the time that I fly home to California for the holidays, usually it's still packed full of gifts, that are not yet wrapped. And there's this like underlying stress in the house of like, we need to wrap the gifts. So, obviously I jump in and I help. And, we wrap gifts, we watch movies, and we make it a fun time. But it's just the need to do that, the like
Yeah.
requirement of it, it's
Yeah.
not there this year. Like, I'm not
Right.
gonna go home and see like this table covered with the most random things labeled, hopefully labeled with a post-it note so you know who it goes to. And just a flood of presents coming out from under the tree. And like, we love so many people, and that does not mean that no one will ever get a gift at all, but it's the obligation of that exchange, right? It's like
Yeah.
the anticipation of the Christmases we have with our different families, and going and loading up the car with like 4 boxes of like giant Tupperware storage containers full of stuff that like, poof, we don't have to think about that at all. And then the gifts that we do give get to be even more meaningful because it's not just a name
Right.
on a list.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I'm realizing is that the people who really mean something to me, I'd rather, now here's where we go into presence, is like I would rather commune with them and connect with them on a heart to heart way. So maybe an experience which could be walking through nature. Oh, one of my favorites, do a photo safari with a friend, and we've got our phones and we're like, hey, did you see this? And it's sharing a moment that doesn't have to do with anything of that physical exchange, but more from a heart exchange. And it doesn't have to be done on this day.
Yeah.
So I don't feel that stress. It could be like, okay, so 2025 is going to be gifting of presents. My PRE, I'm going to spell this wrong, SENCE, presents versus a gift of physical. It can be, but what I want to explore, like we're doing something different for Christmas, is being able to take this whole concept of giving to a different level in a
Yeah.
different way.
Mhm.
And I love that whole idea of photo safaris in nature or walking the beach, or it's just two hearts connecting, or, could be more, but hearts connecting versus here, I found this on sale at, Cyber Monday, because that's what we do. And then here
Right.
you go.
Right. Or like, oh, I got like this gift package that has like a bunch of different like uh versions of the same thing, and now I can put it in everyone's stocking, and we can like dole it out. We don't have to do calculations like that, and we get to buy things or show up for people the way we want to. Like, those physical things can be backed with a reason, with like a conversation that was had, so you know that they want that, or like something they need. They're like, oh, I wish that there was X, Y, and Z to make my life easier, and then here you are, poof, giving that to them. And that is more about presence being than presence the gift, right? And I totally agree that that connection is so much more important. And like, having that time and being live with someone, and having those stupid conversations, right? Like the ones that just, they almost mean nothing, they come out of nowhere, but they just flow and they allow you to connect, and then they get deep and they get light and they get silly and they get I mean, even tense at times, but they can come back into what is your connection with that person. I recently, I probably read a quote or something somewhere, but with so much up in the air right now, the most important thing to maintain is community, and to build community, and to really show people what it means to care for them, because there are so many unknowns going on that even the act of caring is often like, people like to not care. They like to not show it. They like to be aloof and look like it's effortless. And what's so wrong with the effort? What's
Right.
wrong with putting the effort into really fostering your relationships and showing people you care and that you remember things they said, and that things they said, things they do, who they are really matter to you, and that their presence matters, right? It's not just like us in a silo amongst like a community of people and it's like we bring what we bring. No, it's about what we bring to each other and how we connect and where we find similarities and differences, and where we get to hold each other up on those and really recognize what matters there. And letting everyone's story be heard, right? Everyone feels so
Yeah.
minuscule, but it's like that one-to-one connection is, it tends to be where we feel like we can safely, comfortably tell our stories without feeling, judged. Like you're not telling a whole group of people what your story is. um, but you get that really intimate connection that you can't replicate with other people, right? Like every connection with each person is so unique and so special because each person is so unique that to give a blanket statement of like, you all are like this, or you all get this, or I treat everyone this way, it's just simply untrue. And that's not how you create that like warm family around you.
Right. And family isn't just your biological family. I mean, it is, we have the CJI family, we have our friend family, and we have our family, and it's just all combined, which I love. And giving somebody the gift of time. So let me bring this back to the cancer journey is if you're on a cancer journey, particularly now, and you don't have the wherewithal, nor do you don't have the energy, you don't have the motivation, you don't have the inspiration to make this like this festive giving time, just being connected with the family, as I'm using that as another word for community, that you really treasure. And it could be a gathering, it could be, it could be anything, but that's what matters. And so I really want to underscore how our presence makes a difference. And for us, I mean, that's the healing, right? The conversations, the story sharing that you're talking about, that's the healing part. That's the real gift.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we all crave. And this whole, I don't want to denigrate, consumerism and capitalism, but it's what we're missing and what not only heals us, but fills our heart, fills our soul. It's that whole being separate, it just doesn't work. We're not supposed to be separate beings. So if you're wondering, what can I give somebody? It's really hard to give a gift of presence.
Mm-hmm.
That's the harder gift to give than a physical thing,
Mm-hmm.
because that's just transactional. This is truly like, I'm going to make the time, I'm going to put some thought into it, but I'm bringing me to you.
Yeah.
And I'm asking you to bring you to me. I mean, it's a commitment, and it's quite a gesture. I
Yeah.
can just feel the joy kind of expanding in me as I'm talking about it.
Yeah, I think the like making time for someone else too, right? That's huge. That's huge because it's so easy to brush off chunks of time like that, right? And like, especially in this world where we are on our phones a lot, like scrolling through things and needing time away from maybe forced productivity of work to have that time to disassociate and just relax on our own. Between all that, it becomes even more difficult to offer time to people and to um make that time, right? And like push things aside and like know that time may be coming up, you're just associating time if you need, but for both parties also to say yes and to make the effort for each other. I think that like when I make plans to meet up with my friends and we stick to it, I mean, yes, there are times when we're like, I'm kind of tired, and they're like, thank God you said that, because I'm tired too, can also be a gift sometimes. But when you both say yes and you show up together and you're there together, like there's really nothing like reconnecting with someone who actively wants to reconnect with you, and actively is making the same effort and leaning in, right? They're not just there because it's like, oh, it's their lunchtime, they had like 20 minutes to like get food with you. It's like I'm making this time because I want to be here with you. I want an update of what's going on with your life. I want to know what's important to you right now. And even if we have a limited time together, like I want this time just together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what came up for me while you were saying that is a movie.
Hmm.
Just sitting, whether this is, at home on the sofa watching a movie, that brings, I mean, just it's a shared experience that allows you to experience something different, going to a different place or emoting, and then the having the freedom to just talk about it after it's done. Like it's like, well, how did that impact you? And what did you think? Or um, that is what I find very joyful. And it's an experience without words, right? You
Hmm.
could even it could be a friend, it could be a family member. I just my vision is holding hands and just kind of having that connection, but not without words. And we're watching and experiencing something together.
Yeah.
And Wicked's out there right now, so it's like, woohoo! That's an experience to
And it's
have.
a movie is a really good way too to connect with someone who maybe you don't feel as connected to initially, right? Because sometimes if you're like scheduling like a friend date, but you like haven't really like you don't even know each other that well, you don't know how conversation's gonna go, like watching a movie and having something to be the main like focus and then have something in common to talk about is like a perfect place to start and show presence and to share your presence with someone else too. um I do want to touch back on what you said a bit ago about consumerism because it was really interesting to me, like thinking about how when they sell things, they're selling things in mass, right? And they're selling things like that are not they're not so separate from the consumer, but there's a distance, right? It's not like I'm talking to a big brand and being like, "Oh, I want to buy this," or like having that connection of what it is specifically, but there is this like kind of middle ground where you feel more held by those companies and like that's where like small businesses really like take off and where they really make sense is because there's such a heart to them that they become part of the community too, and they are in the community and they're not trying to remove that human piece of it. And I think sometimes with like big companies who are trying to sell you all the things for Christmas and um who are doing huge sales all the time and stuff like that, there's that distance because the values of the business don't always align with the values of the customer, whereas sometimes the small businesses in the middle, they really allow you to meet each other exactly where you are and build this community that's not just based on purchasing gifts. Or like there's something more of a story behind that gift that you're going to then give to someone else, and you're giving it to someone else because their values align with that business or something like that. And I think that's a really beautiful touch that can be a lot more thoughtful, have a lot more presence in it than buying just whatever presents for whoever because you feel like you have to.
Right, right. Yeah. With the human aspect,
Yeah.
like I really do love small businesses and try to support local as much as we can, especially if I really like them. It's like, no, no, I'm willing to pay just a little bit more so that you can stay in business because I appreciate you being here. And that's because I can go to the local restaurant and say, "Hi, this is Sherry. Can I get reservations?" Or I have takeout. There's a local Chinese restaurant that we have, and all I have to say is, "This is Sherry." It's not that small a town that we live in, and they go, "Hi, Sherry," and they know us and they remember us, and that matters versus the big box. So
Mhm.
I'm coming back to the human connection of, wow, showing up really makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And you and who you are as a gift really makes a difference. Because, I mean, for those small businesses that know you, they know that you're there and you support their mission, you support what they're doing. Um, yeah. the that's one gift that I think that like it's not just making the connection and like having that peace in our relationships, but it's like you are a gift in what you offer. Like you
Yes.
in yourself
Yes.
are a gift. Um,
Yes.
and that's not always the perspective we go into those situations with, right? Where we're like hanging out with someone. It's a lot more casual and it's a lot less thought because we are innately who we are. Like we're not thinking about all of the wonderful things that we bring or what makes us unique and how we, foster relationships. So especially us, but um, like everyone has a unique gift that they give, and once you really get to know what that is, even just a little bit, you'll start to see it pop up everywhere, and then you'll really start to feel aligned with the people that really get you and the people that really see your presence as a present. And those are the people who are your people, the people who
Right.
really see you.
Right. Well, and I was thinking about how easy it is to feel separate,
Hmm.
even when we're in a crowd, when we're not with people who really see us and get us. And this is not a ploy, but it just popped into my head. We are very generous at CJI and or the Cancer Journey Institute. And so I love that our coaches give gift sessions
Hmm. Yeah.
and that we believe in gifting, and especially now if the audience that is listening to us feel like you don't know who to reach out to, or you just want to be heard and seen, and come sign up for a gift session. We are happy to match you with somebody who has the same situation or some similarities, or seems like the right energy hit to be that one-on-one, to see you, to hear you, to get you. And so you feel connected and you don't feel separate. And that's just the yummiest of yummy. It's like, okay, what's better connection than that, than somebody who will see you, hear you, and get you?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh man. I and our coaches, it's not just the gift of getting their gift where while you do get that and you do get, their guidance as they work with you, but they also start to bring that out in you. Like it's really a gift for whoever is experiencing that coach because they get to feel more seen, heard, and gotten and understand what that gift is that they have. That's not something you do alone. It's not something you do in your own head, or it can help to journal. We're big external processors here, obviously, and a lot comes out externally that we don't think about internally. Because once again, once you say something, it just leaves your entire being once you say it. And so when someone says, "Oh, these are the exact words you said," you get to be like a viewer of what you just said and be like, "Oh, or is that how I'm speaking to myself? That was kind of mean."
Mm-hmm.
Or,
Mm-hmm.
wow, that was really sweet of me, even. But to have that reflection and to work with someone who does that for you, I mean, I think it's a very specific conversation, but it's a very, very helpful one.
Yeah.
And it's different than your one-on-one connections with your friends and showing up with your friends and your family members and your loved ones, because those ones are definitely much more open, free flowing, and you're not meant to analyze them. But with your coach, you start to get really into what really matters, and it's a very targeted conversation about um, you and what matters
Yes.
to you and why you're so awesome.
Why you're so, and it's a gift that keeps on giving, right? Because you start feeling good about who you are or what's going on, and it's not always good. Sometimes it's just clarity. It's like, I was in such a fog, or I was really wrestling with this concept and idea, and it's somebody who's there to help you with whatever's going on,
Hmm.
joyful, um, challenging, whatever. But it's really this time given to yourself when you sign up for a gift session. And by the way, for the coaches, it's also a gift, because every time I'm coaching somebody, I get something back.
Yeah.
It's almost like the conversation is a reflection for both of us
Mhm. Yeah.
in a deep way.
Yeah. The phrase that you said, it's a very common phrase that's sticking in my brain is the gift that keeps on giving. The gift that keeps on giving. And I think that that's so um important and us and ourselves, right? Like the presence that we have and we offer people is a gift that keeps on giving because we continue to show up and you continue to build on that connection and you continue to grow that relationship. Whereas sometimes physical gifts, especially ones that are bought in mass and become a little more responsibility based than thoughtful based, they're not necessarily gifts that keep on giving. They're gifts that are kind of a one and done, and they become just a check mark on the list. Whereas spending time with someone, going to a museum with them, going on a photo walk, going anywhere with them, and getting a meal, like spending time, even if you just sit in a park and talk, like it doesn't need to be all that complicated.
Right, right,
um,
right. I
it's
mean, when you're really present with your presence and your person or whoever you're with, you could be walking through Walmart and having a blast. It's not the thing, it is that interaction.
yeah.
And there was something else I wanted to say about that. So what popped into my head is someone might go, well, who am I to do all of this? I don't even know. I'm really not great at conversation, or um, I just don't know what to bring. I'm going to say, come to Foundations of You, because the premise of that is everybody matters and everybody has, let me just say it, a gift.
Hmm.
Their gift that is uniquely theirs, that only they can do in the way that they do it. And we can't see that from the inside out. We need the reflection. And I love this 2-day event because it's so specific to each of the individuals, and yet we do it in a community, so you're feeling like seen, heard, and gotten, but with a lot of people, that it feels intimate and yet it feels spacious.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it it feels like there is a larger group, right? But everyone gets an individual moment, and you are not at all dropped. You definitely have a lot of people in the room who are there to support you, like not just other participants, but our coaches, ourselves even. We don't let anyone sit idly by and just like observe. There is a leaning into it. And it's all about you, really.
Yeah.
Where so many other things are about everyone else. This is just 2 days, um, with a larger view, for of course, but specifically, you get to learn more about you. And yes, what's innate there, but what you can do with it once you define what's innately there.
Right.
Both the foundation of you, and actually a podcast we recently filmed about the transcendent moments of joy, they kind of come
Mhm.
together for me because transcendent moments of joy don't have to be epic moments. They can be really small, and they can be in those same conversations that we're talking about that you can have and the relationships that you can foster. But to have those experiences will light you up. They light you up because they make you realize what an impact you have and how much there is out there for you um to like bless your light with. And so they're really
Yes.
enlivening, they're really um exciting, and they really fill you up because sometimes it takes those transcendent moments of joy to really feel that change and that
Hmm.
positive impact and the presence that you own, and you get to feel important
Yes.
and real.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
And special. I
Yes.
mean, that's the thing about the cancer journey is oftentimes the patient feels special because everybody's doting on them, paying attention. You've got this team. And then after that's done, it's like, where did that specialness go? I'm still the same person, but everybody's, off to the next patient.
Mhm.
And then the caregiver's like, I don't feel special. I'm here to serve. And so they don't keep filling their cup. I mean, there's so much about you giving to you. And I think that is my takeaway on the presence is your presence is great for gifting out there. It's not easy. It takes energy and it takes intention, but it's such a valuable gift, but it's also something that you can give to yourself. Oh my goodness. Presents for you.
Yeah.
Presents.
So is that your word, presence?
Oh, yes, and that's my word too.
Okay, my takeaway is that it's again so much easier said than done. And you're not alone. Like it doesn't need to be hard. We can absolutely start that conversation with you because it has to start somewhere, right? And it's easier said than done in a way that feeling confident is definitely helpful in that endeavor, but it also, in doing this, it will help you feel more comfortable and confident in who you are. Because, like you said, people who are going through cancer, sometimes they're special because they're the priority. There's a spotlight on them. And not everyone likes that feeling, right? And especially when it's around cancer, we don't really want to be highlighted for that. But when you own who you really are, because you are so much more than your cancer, like eons more than your cancer. You are a whole, complex, beautiful, rich human that has this light to shine out from you. That's so much more than cancer. And so when you own that and you know that you have that, because you do, just being alive, you have that light. It gives you the confidence to then share that with everyone else, and realize the amazing impact you have on the people that really love you. So, my word is impact.
All right.
Well, thank you for joining us. We'll be back every week on Friday, so we will see you next week.
And remember, you are so much more powerful and valuable than you realize. Have a great rest of your day.